Perfect.
Good morning, good morning, good morning. Here we are in the kitchen, Argentine Asado kitchen, and we are going to do something very, very special today because today is my birthday. Yes, I am 32 years of age. I don't feel any more mature. I don't feel any older. After 30, I think it's all the same. And today we are going to do something special. Look at the size of this fresh rosemary, guys. Look at the beautiful, beautiful colors of the flowers. We're going to be doing something special. We are going to be slow roasting 11 kilos, which is 22 pounds of meat. And I'm going to show you everything I've got and the different cuts of meat and the why I've chose them and how we're going to be doing it. So stay with me for this video and it's going to be fun. And we are going to roast this meat. Look at all of this meat I have here. And we are going to serve it up to our guests in amazing crispy buns with a little bit of homemade mayonnaise and some grilled veggies. So what cuts of meat am I doing for my birthday roast? So first of all, I've got chingolo, and chingolo, also known as palomita, is a chuck roast. Now, the chuck roast is a pretty larger piece of meat, and I'm going to put it up here. I'm going to put an image. I'm going to put a picture up here. So it's actually, as you can see here, it has a pretty small one, and then I've got another one here, which is a little bit bigger. So you get kind of different sizes. Generally, they're about between 3 and 4 pounds here in Argentina. So 2 to 3 kilos. So I've got 5 chingolos or palomitas, which are chuck roast. And then I have this, which in Argentina they call roast beef. Literally, it is called roast beef. And this is further up the neck, so it's a little bit more juicy, and it is basically great for putting in sandwiches and just basically slow roasting. So how am I going to prepare my meat for my sandwiches? So first of all, I am going to put them in an oven rack, and in the oven rack I'm going to add in my rosemary, my vegetables and all of that. But most importantly, there are 3 ingredients that you can't miss if you're going to slow roast beef. Number 1, salt. Number 2 is black pepper, and number 3 is rosemary. For me, those are the 3 ingredients that you must have if you want to make this absolutely fantastic tasting. Absolutely. If you want this to taste absolutely fantastic and you want your guests to be licking their fingers. So that is my herbs of choice, and I'm just going to add in some onions, some garlic and a few other veggies, and we're going to let that slow roast for around 3 hours. Okay, so what vegetables do we have? Red bell pepper, green bell pepper, lots of onions, yes. And here I have some leek, and I have some parsley. And of course we have our rosemary, our fresh rosemary. Always keep it fresh. And we have our meat. We also have mona. And we also have quesito. I honestly can't cook in peace. They have to be hanging around. When there's meat and vegetables, even the vegetables are hanging around.
Me? Is hanging around.
So in my cooking tray, I am going to be putting liquid. So there's going to be liquid under those racks, and it's not going to be in contact with the meat, and the vegetables are going to be between the rack and the liquid. So you want to get a glass container like this, or a jar or something. And I've just got this little contraption on top so I can get my salt and pepper, because I want to create a brine for the slow roast. So why do I want a brine? Well, really, these cuts of meat, the chingola doesn't have a lot of fat. It has a lot of fiber. And the roast beef does, but the chingola doesn't, which is your chuck roast. Doesn't have a ton of fat. So you want to create humidity. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to mix coriander. I'm going to mix sweet chili, which is here called, it's like a great replacement with paprika. Here it is called ají dulce. And I'm going to do black pepper. I'm going to do my coriander, as I said, my salt. And then I'm going to add that with some stock in warm water to the oven racks. And then once we get that into the oven, we're going to put it in the wood oven. We are going to leave that for 3 hours. It's going to keep it moist through the whole cooking process, which is really what we want to achieve. Because if we're going to dry it out, we're going to have a really bad experience, and we don't like that. So here goes my salt. And this is kind of barbecue salt, so it has a few extra magic. Ají dulce, which is sweet chili. So if you want to do brine for slow roasting, you need this. You need warm water. Why? Because herbs, salts, minerals, they have cell walls. They have the cell in the different herbs and the different spices has a certain amount of friction with warm water, which helps it absorb, really bring out the flavor, and basically softens the cells so that you get that full taste. That's why putting herbs in warm water before you add them as a brine is probably the most underrated thing you can do, but it really helps bring out the flavor. So I'm going to be adding right now my warm water to my brine, and then I will let it sit for 3 hours before I add any of that to the oven racks where we're going to be obviously slow roasting our meat. Just look at this magic, guys. That, my friends, is a brine. Now, I have another video, which is how to make salmuera. And don't get confused, this isn't really a salmuera because I have added a lot more things than I generally do in a normal salmuera. Salmuera is very, very straightforward. This is a little bit more stock friendly and for a slow roast. And there you've got it. So you can see there you've got the salt on the bottom, and I'm just kind of shaking it up a little bit. And then I'll leave it for like 3 hours to get to room temperature because it's warm now. It's not boiling. And I'll leave that long enough so it really brings out all the flavors in those herbs. Okay, we are back after 3 hours of leaving this at room temperature. And look at this bad boy. Look how the color of the color of the thing. It looks great. So now what we're going to do is pretty straightforward. We're going to dice up all of our vegetables here. We're going to put them into the oven rack. We're going to put them on the bottom. I'm going to put this down, put the meat in the oven, on the oven rack. We're going to then obviously add our brine and our stock to this underneath the meat. We don't want the meat to be in touch with the liquid. We're going to add our rosemary and our garlic, and we are ready to put these in the wood oven. Okay, so we're ready now to get our meat into our oven trays. You can see I've diced up all the veggies, and I've just sprinkled a little bit of olive oil in there. And I've got my stock ready, which is here. And once we've got the meat in there, we're going to pour the stock in, wrap it in aluminium foil, and then we are going to put it in the oven. Remember the 3 herbs that you can't do without, or the 3 seasonings that you must have for doing like a chuck roast or something in the oven. Rosemary, salt, and black pepper. Okay, best part. So these 2 babies are ready to rock. I've really tucked in all of the aluminium foil. I'm not a big fan of cooking with aluminium foil, but it is what it is. I do a lot in cast iron. I prefer cast iron, but for this amount of food, I prefer this. It's just more efficient. So yeah, we're going to put it in the oven, and we're going to give it 3 hours before we take it out, and then we're going to slice it up and put it in the rolls. And if you want to see how many rolls I've got, look. This, I got sourdough. Look at this bad boy. So we've got a ton of bread, and that's coffee. Say hi, coffee. So here we have one of the chuck roasts, and look at this bad boy. This is just falling to bits, guys. We're just going to pull this apart right now. So I'm looking forward to tasting this, and as you can see, it just literally just look at this. Then you can see the rosemary that's coming through. Oh my god. So we're going to pull this all out. We're going to pull all of this, and then we're going to put it in the roux. This is just falling to bits. It's honestly just falling to bits. Perfect to put in a sandwich. Perfect to serve to a bigger family. However you want. And there you go. There is your pulled chuck roast to put in a sandwich with all the veggies, with the fresh rosemary. Okay, vamos. Perfect.